no one prepares you for that transition from stable income to like free falling at 9.8 meters per second squared. Lord, the math ain't mathing. And I'm like, how did I ever live without this? I feel like I've woken up from the Matrix. All right, I'm trying something new here because I have a couple hours to both film this and eat something. And I'm not the best multitasker, but here we go. We're gonna try to get this done. But first, let me eat my Brazil nut of the day. Brazil nut. All right, for you ladies with thyroid issues, get your selenium. Selenium? 2 max, okay? Don't eat more than 2. All right. I need to figure out what to eat for dinner. Lunch. I think I'm gonna make a quick stir fry. I don't even have vegetables. Man, I don't have anything. Shoot, I'm not ready for this. I think I'm going to make some protein pasta with some meat. Just like a random meat stir fry with protein pasta. Okay, got these on sale at Whole Foods a while ago. I stock up on things when they're on sale. And I'm gonna probably just let that boil here while I make a quick stir fry. Okay, I'm gonna try to trying to multitask here. But it's been 4 weeks approximately since I've quit my 9 to 5, and it's literally changing my life in good and bad ways. Maybe not bad, bad's the wrong word, but I am here to share an update on the good, bad, and the ugly. Bad and ugly, I guess, can be kind of put in the same category, but we're gonna start with the ugly and the bad first because I prefer bad news first and the good news, saving the best for last. So firstly, salt your water for your pasta, please, for the love of God. If you don't salt your water for your pasta, what are you doing? What are you doing, like actually? Eat red onion. Okay, though, I did have to mention this. Biggest life hack, budget, trying to eat clean, all the things. 100% grass-fed beef patties from Costco. This whole pack is like $6 or something. Each of these patties can make a decent meal. Like you could do a stir fry, base for soup. You can just even make a patty. You can make an open-faced burger. I just use it for everything as a base to get the protein I need. And woo, get it now before you get alpha gal. Just kidding. Because this splatters, okay. Well, while I'm letting that thaw and cook and the water boil here, starting with the ugly, I legit, I mean, makeup does wonders, but legit, it's been an ugly phase. Like I feel like I'm in one big luteal phase. My skin, it hasn't been this crazy since high school and I can't figure it out. Am I just stressed? Are my hormones crazy? Is this a perimenopausal thing? Like what's going on? I don't know. I haven't had this since high school and it's been bothering me because I'm not trying to spend extra money on fixing my skin in this season. And it does impact, do I feel like filming for the day or something? As superficial as that can sound, it does impact it. Definitely not as much as it would have before because here I am filming. But I don't know. There's something about this season where it just, I just feel ugly. It's a thing. Luteal phase is a thing, but I just feel like it's a one big extended luteal phase. Oh geez. 2, lack of stability. So this is also a good thing. It's like a blessing in disguise, but the lack of stability, no one prepares you for the transition from like stable, you get your paycheck every couple of weeks, which mind you, I hadn't had until like 2020. That was my first time having like a stable job and not like a volunteer thing or some kind of across the world, like teaching English in Korea thing, you know? And no one prepares you for that transition from stable income to like free falling at 9.8 meters per second squared and just feeling like you're just flailing and feeling like, oh, all right, so what happens now if I have a chronic health crisis? What happens now if, God forbid, XYZ happens? And Not to mention, I've never been hit with so many unexpected expenses related to bills increasing or like speeding tickets or like just things that I don't know where they're coming from, like all of a sudden out of nowhere. And then there's what I'm calling hashtag stewardshipmaxxing, in which every thing you have is precious because you can't afford to just replace anything that breaks or goes bad. I am the type to spend on certain things and then like not spend or delay spending on a lot of other things that people would normally spend on. But even my boots, for example, I used to wear those almost every day and I still do. It's just a little too warm for it right now. But they're like falling apart, like legitimately falling apart. And, you know, before it's like, okay, once it actually falls apart, I'm going to replace them. But I'm at a point right now where I'm like, no, I need to milk this as long as possible. Trying to replace a pair of shoes right now just doesn't seem like a wise financial decision. On top of that, my hair, I normally only get my hair cut or done like once a year. And I'm like already thinking about, all right, let me refresh on how to cut your own hair, that Peace Corps life / COVID life. Just the need to cut all the extra fat out of your life. It's quite sanctifying when I didn't have to think so hard about that. Like I would still not be, you know, spending frivolously on things, but just the level of heightened awareness of not spending has been tricky. I think especially when it comes to friends, relationships, social time, social life, just learning to say a lot of no's. And I thought I said no a decent amount, enough for me to not be so overwhelmed. Things that were once like, oh yeah, of course I would say yes. Now I have to really prioritize what I say yes to because my budget is so tight. I really can only say yes to like one thing per month, one social thing per month. And that's been kind of tough, but like learning how to be creative too, because I know that this is not when I should be isolating myself. Like I need to be in community. It's a huge temptation to kind of isolate yourself and head down and just do what you need to do. But that's not the way. That's not how I'm trying to live. So how do I be creative? And instead I've been trying to have more like, okay, come over for tea. Maybe I'll try to bake something or fail at baking something. It gets hard to say no a bunch of times to people if it's something simple as like eating out, because eating out, that already kills my budget for the month. I'd rather use that on like a close friend's birthday for the month than just eating out lunch, you know, after church or something. Yeah, so it does take a little bit of discernment. At the same time, there's a lot of time that is spent just merely like trying to save money, so you spend extra time to save money. For example, I was doing my taxes and then because of financial things, it said that I would have to pay like $150 extra because I would have to pay for premium H&R Block. And I was like, no, that's not worth it. So I was looking up ways to file taxes for free and redo my taxes essentially. This was like very last minute too. But because of that, I discovered freetaxusa.com and I highly recommend it. And now I'm like a full-on believer. Apparently like all of Reddit uses it. So it was free, except for state. State you only pay $15 though, which was still better. And so you just spend more time looking for other ways, having to be on the phone for hours and hours on end with different companies because maybe they raised your bill and you want to like decrease it or various things.
We can call you back when it's your turn. Please remain on the line for the next available customer service specialist.
Okay, thank you so much.
Stay on the line.
All right.
You're welcome. Stay on the line. I'll connect you now.
All right, thanks.
Just wait a second once I get them on the line, okay?
Okay, thank you. I think I've been on the phone for like 2 hours now.
My electricity bill went up 4 times. All of this stuff like hits at once and you have to spend that time to call them, to discover your options, to steward your finances well, you know? Just the amount of time I've spent on the phone this past month has just been insane. Anyway, so it does feel like a waste of time, but you know that providentially nothing is a waste. I think also just something that's been ugly is just seeing the sanctification at work in like little and big ways. When I had a more stable income, just these small impulse buys, $5 here, $10 here, like it's not a big deal. Like I would just, okay, why not? Like treat myself kind of thing. And then you just build this habit of giving into your small impulses that aren't really small after a while, and having to like backtrack on all of that and re-exercise self-control and even these small things, even something just like, you know, if I'm craving a dark chocolate bar at the counter when I'm like checking out, I'll just get it. You know, it's okay. It's a few dollars or whatever, several dollars. But now I have to intentionally stop myself. The temptation is strong. It's just amazing how much I've gotten used to that. And there's like a level of even materialism there. Like if I just see a cute little trinket or something and I want to get it, I wouldn't think too hard about it, but all of that counts now. Like every dollar is a dollar that could be used to pay my bills, to tithe, to treat someone, to buy a bag of flour, to bake something for people to come over or whatever it may be. So there's things like that. There's dealing with my lack of control and the anxieties of this world that just become further heightened, of course, when you're in a situation where all of your false senses of security and like insurance are no longer there. So even though those were already false senses of security that you were leaning on, just by not having them, even though that was more of an illusion than it was like a reality of safety or security, just not having it there at all feels like, oh, the training wheels are off and the anxiety is heightened. And so that's been humbling as well, because I do get stressed, but I don't consider myself like a highly anxious person. I don't think. Relative. It's relative. We're in an anxious generation, so it's relative. But that anxiety will come here and there and it'll kind of paralyze me. It's kind of like, what are you doing, girl? Maybe you need to be focusing on making money than all this like delusional, the vision casting stuff you have going on. So that's kind of been also a little tough. Quick break as I put in garlic. Well, so hold that. Part 2, the bad. I guess the bad could be tied into the ugly, but similar to one of the previous videos I posted about feeling like I'm being attacked, I think that still continues on in different ways, and I have just felt a lot of discouragement. I have never been hit with so many unforeseen expenses. I mentioned that earlier, but I just feel like every time I open my email or notification or something, there's something new. Like today, there was some PayPal scam on my account. And then on Facebook, my account got put on some heightened security risk thing and just like dumb things. It kind of gets draining after a while because dealing with these things can sometimes take hours. You know, obviously I had plans for what to do with those hours, and sometimes it just turns into a whole day of on the line with some company or something to get this solved, or your credit report, get this thing fixed, whatever it may be. And then even like things related to the business side of things that I'm trying to get started. Nothing is smooth. Every single thing I've had to sign up for, like a business banking account or whatever it may be, there's always issues along the way. I know that's to be expected, but when it happens, like when nothing goes smoothly, it can be kind of discouraging. Like just the modern day thorns and thistles, you know what I mean? So it can feel like a lot of wasted time, but again, this is all part of the process. Nothing is easy. And so I just have to remember that I should be really grateful that I even have the time to deal with this. Like, I don't even know how people who have children and their job and they're trying to do side hustles and all this stuff, like how do they even make all of this work? Anyways, another thing, it's not bad. It's just like not great. I know I've been warned a lot about, or, you know, the more I studied about founders or entrepreneurs, or I took like founders classes, founders dilemmas and business school and stuff, you hear again and again how like lonely it is, which is very similar actually to ministry. I wrote a whole blog about that. But I think in this season, I'm not feeling the loneliness per se, but I am feeling the kind of loneliness that comes with people just not really getting it. I don't think there's anyone really around me here in my community that's, okay, there's maybe some that I'm not as close with, but yeah, there's people who kind of don't understand. So maybe there could be false misconceptions of whatever it may be. You know, trying to do something on your own is actually hours-wise more than a full-time job. And trying to figure out all this stuff without a blueprint. So that's another part of the kind of bad. I think bad is a misnomer. I wanted to stick with the reference, you know, but yeah, I don't know if I would call it bad, just not as good, or like kind of the tricky parts, not having a blueprint. And mind you, this isn't even like me trying to be a full-time content creator. Like that's not what I'm trying to do. but it's a similar vibe. Like you're trying to figure out your own thing. And in that, there is no blueprint. Like everyone has a different path. The Lord has a very specific path for you. I guess with everything, but because it's like a road less traveled kind of thing, I'm just like, Lord, you got to tell me what to do next, because people have gone before me, but not in the way that I want to go. There's certain compromises I'm not willing to make. There's certain things I'm drawing clear boundaries with or for. So you got to guide me, because I really feel like you brought me on a certain path and I need to rely on you to bring me through that path. So there's a lot of feeling lost. And then there's a lot of my practical side comes in, and I'm like, Lord, the math ain't mathing. Like, how do I have this and then also figure out my tent making side where like the finances can sustainably work out in the end? That's not the era I'm supposed to focus on. I'm like working things out in phases. I just can't help think about that because I'm a human and I'm thinking of the practical things. And as I read through the Old Testament, I just realize how that is just so us. We're like, but are you going to provide the manna tomorrow? But like, what about tomorrow? But what about tomorrow? And then you're like hoarding the manna that rots. That's just the story of our lives. And the Lord's constantly just showing us, yes, just rely on me, inquire of me, come to me, go to me. Stop looking to these other ways to figure out your path. But it's very tempting. Other kind of hard things is that it sounds really dumb, but just needing to let go of things like my car. It's like my dream car. It's my white Mazda CX-5. Like, I love this car. This is my second time leasing one, but it's just too pricey for it to make any sense with insurance, with the lease payments. It just doesn't make any sense. My lease is ending in a couple weeks. It does make me sad that I have to give that up. I love that car. Like, there's so many memories in that car. It's my prayer room. It's my karaoke room. It's my reading audiobooks room. It's like the time where I have to myself. It's like my whole separate sanctuary out in public. And I'm gonna miss that. But then there's some good in terms of provisions on that piece. But that is a sad part. And then alongside that is this apartment that I love. Like, I love this apartment. I've never felt so much sparked joy in Marie Kondo terms, of a place that I could call totally, in a way, my own, and just how the Lord blessed it. This place in itself is its own testimony, which I do want to share about, just to show how good God is. But my lease is ending in July, and I can't afford to live in a place like this. With my salary, it was kind of below, in terms of financial management, personal finances. They tell you a certain amount of your income should be put to rent, and mine was well below that. So it was moderate in terms of that income lifestyle. But now that I'm on this different path, it's no longer viable unless the Lord provides a way, which I know he could totally do. He's been doing that for the last, I don't know how many years of my life. It makes me really sad. I've been here for 3 years and I have so many memories here, and it's like my recording studio and my creative workshop area and my work area and my safe haven and a place to host, and just all the things I love to do, I can do here. I need to make a whole video on it because the Lord just provided in amazing ways. Another thing in the bad category is I really wanted to hit the ground running as soon as my job officially ended, but there were just so many things that I felt like were in the way. And I know that you can't go against the Lord's timing and how he wants to play things out, but it does feel frustrating when I am a somewhat ambitious person and I wanted to hit the ground running, and then I got hit with these health things, or just there were some days where I was just bedridden, recovering from even just something as simple as a social event or like a fellowship event or church thing or people coming over. It could put me out of commission a couple days, and that can be really frustrating. Each day is so precious that I have right now. It's also like a lot of discipline and time to be healthy and to cook meals. It takes so much of my day, actually, but I know that's what I need, because if I don't have the things I need to maintain my health issues, and my health is actually in a really good place right now, but if I don't have that, then there's no point of me even doing what I'm trying to do, because I would not be able to function. And so investing in that just sometimes feels like, man, it just takes so much time to cook your own food and all of this, but it's what you got to do. It's part of stewardship, right? Part of stewarding this body that he's given me, and I guess learning like good disciplines for the future too. Okay, my food is partially done. So I'm going to set my own table and eat, and then we'll go on to the good, the fun part. I'll be back. Now for the good part. Number 1, rebelling against the Rockefellers. If you know, you know. I mean, he wanted a nation of workers, not thinkers, but I'm here trying to be a thinker, okay? Just say no to indoctrination. JK, moving on. Quitting stability, I mentioned that as a ugly thing, but having actually full reliance on him can feel like an ugly, not great thing, but it's actually so good. It's so good for us. Being able to experience God when it's like you are fully dependent on him and watching him rain manna from the sky, figuratively, but also in some ways quite literally, like having my groceries provided for and things like that, has been just mind-blowing to see what he's been doing in the season. In the midst of my bank account getting depleted from these bills and random things, he's also been filling it with other things. One major praise report is that I have a contracting gig that is temporary, but it's really been such a provision in terms of, I had savings that I had been allocating and tucking away for quite a while to do something like this. And that creates a certain limitation of my runway overall for this season, sabbatical season. And that opportunity that was provided to me, by the way, no longer W-2 girl, but I'm a W-9, which is also exciting. Freelance life, that has helped somewhat buffer my runway or extend it slightly or provide a little bit more flexibility, which has been such a provision. And then the other thing with my car, like when my car lease, I had to determine what to do next with it in the past couple of months. Man, like I had a friend who was offering, who was offering me to use her car that she wasn't really using, and it was just sitting at home as she commutes and stuff. And yeah, there's just been people offering, it's like a reminder of how I think we were supposed to live. Like we've outsourced. I was watching something a while ago about how we've outsourced our community, like being a villager, like how we were supposed to live and being dependent on one another and helping each other out. We outsourced that to insurance companies and companies to do all of our whatever maintenance work and services, rental cars, all this stuff. And being limited where I can't rely on such services or whatever it may be, has really made me see the community come through. And that's been so humbling and mind-blowing. But the most amazing provision is that my brother apparently has a car that I didn't know what was going on with that car, but he's not using it and it's just sitting on the other side of the country, like on this side, and not being used, and insurance is being paid for it and everything. And so I'm going to be using that car. It feels like a provision from the sky. That saves so much money on insurance and lease payments, as much as I have to return this dream car of mine that I love so much. And it's yeah, if I had the finances, I would buy it out and commit to it. But, that's just not my season, and that's not as important to me. And I'm just thankful for the provision that God's given me to even have a car. And it just reminds me of when I first came here, I didn't have a car when I was first in seminary, and the Lord provided me a free car. Like someone donated their car to me, and I will forever remember that car. We endearingly called it Goldie because she was this like very interesting champagne gold Toyota Camry, and 200K miles, brought me far, but also brought me down a lot of accident roads blowing up on me. But anyways, that and even beyond just certain needs or basic needs, just unspeakable provisions. A friend donated me, I like have to say it because it's such a provision, but donated me a studio display monitor for me to use for the cause, for my creative endeavors. I mean, some of them are, but... And that just blows my mind. Like, what? And it's such a provision because I have this checklist of things to do or things that I need or things that like, oh, I need to calibrate my monitor. I had a different monitor and it wouldn't calibrate because it doesn't have the level of color accuracy as some of these other monitors, especially if you're trying to do creative type things. And so I just left that off of my list as something that I just can't afford right now or have right now. And then this provision came out of nowhere, and that's been my main like digital creative station. That's just so mind-blowing. Aside from that, stewardship maxxing. Stewardship maxxing is hard, but it's kind of like given me a heightened awareness of the preciousness of the things he's given us to steward, because now every second of time or second of my attention or every extra dime I have or I'm given or I'm saving, it's all very precious right now when things are more scarce, less just like frivolousness. Additionally, I feel like I'm building a lot more new rhythms in my life that I want to prioritize for the rest of my life. And that alone, being able to kind of determine what those things are and live it out, test it out, and say, yeah, these are things that I want to do for the rest of my life, living in alignment with my convictions and kind of like maybe lofty ideals, and then a reality of me living it out in person and being able to say that that is what I want forever until I die has been the biggest blessing. And part of that is the time that I get to spend with the Lord. Like I have not been this consistent with time spent in the Lord. Even for April, which is probably my biggest streak, I've been able to spend like at least an hour in the Word and in prayer with the Lord every day. And I'm like, how did I ever live without this? Like, how was this ever an issue for me? And how was washing my face, brushing my teeth, doing my skincare routine and all these things prioritized more than this? Because it's everything. It's like literally life. We don't live on bread alone. Anyways, I could go off about that, but I think just being able to experience that firsthand and have the luxury to, I wouldn't even trade that. Like if that was alone the takeaway from this season, so worth it. The other thing that's kind of related is stripping things down to the basics, which mainly entails healing, like physically healing and creating. So that means more time outside, more time cooking, more time in the sun, better sleep, better ways of following the natural circadian rhythms that he gave us. Letting myself even go makeup free on some days. I'm trying to have certain days where I'm letting my skin, my face breathe, which I didn't really do before, ever. All of that has just been life-giving and organic. I don't know, it sounds really crunchy, but it's true. It's like going back to the basics, going back to how we were supposed to live in certain ways. And then second to last is being able to live out this like anti-brain rot lifestyle. Some of my goals for this year was mental clarity. That's such a key thing needed for creating, for life, for just living intentionally, for everything. And I was living a life of brain fog in this season where I'm seeing the fruits of all the efforts I'm putting in to have more mental clarity. I feel like I've woken up from the matrix. I don't know. I mean, red pill now has all sorts of connotations, but it's a different kind of red pill. And I'm like, I wish more people would experience this. I'm glad that it's becoming more of a trend that people are kind of going more analog mode, but it's so crazy to live and wake up and not feel that brain fog that I've been feeling for at least the past several years, if not more, of my life because of health issues or just because you're living that hamster lifestyle. And so part of what goes into that is the discipline of less phone time, weaning off of that dopamine spike that we get from everything. Everything's trying to spike our dopamine these days. More analog mode, more paper books, printed books, and more reading overall, more creating, less consuming, less reactivity to things around me. Like I just leave my phone and I have like a phone station and I just leave it there unless I'm creating something or like I'm posting something or actively deciding on a certain time for me to try to attack my inboxes and stuff. But other than that, I just leave it alone. And my notifications have always been silenced since day one of me getting a cell phone, like way back in the day. But now it's on a different level. I'm stricter now with the airplane mode. I do not keep my phone in my room when I sleep. There have been a couple of days where I broke that and I just regretted it so much. Like it's just not worth it. Not worth it. So I've been stricter with that and I feel it. That and maybe the creatine too. The creatine, I'm giving it a second chance and I think it's effective. I think it's effective for the brain. Anyways, all in all, to wrap this up, I have zero regrets, as much as there's so much unknown ahead of me and uncertainties and I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how I'm gonna make the math. I don't know how I'm going to sustain myself in the future after my runway ends, but I also know that he'll provide in just the very ways he's been providing for me until now. And if you haven't read 4,000 Weeks, please read that. Maybe that's the red pill you need. I don't know. But I think I'm going to look back at this season and recall this season as the best eternal investment I could make, other than maybe seminary. on my life to just completely reset, have the luxury to reset and be like, what am I doing? Wake up, girl. How do you want to live the remaining 2,102 weeks of your life? Because on average, the human has 4,000 weeks to live. That's the premise of the book. And that's on average. That doesn't guarantee that you'll even be in that average. I could die tomorrow. You could die tomorrow. Like, we don't know. The Lord knows how many days he's allotted to us, right? So in teaching us to number those days, which I think 4,000 weeks has a lot of common grace wisdom to teach us that, I calculated that I am on my 1,898th week. I want to use the rest of those potentially 2,000 plus weeks well, and I want to use what I'm learning now to make those 2,000 weeks even better. Not better in a worldly definition of better, but in an eternal sense. So whoa, that got real serious. And I'm really hungry now because that took a lot of brain power. But thank you for joining me on this cook with me and eat with me and hear the good, bad, and the ugly of quitting my 9 to 5 and waking up a bit more. Until next time, bye.